Part 8 of a multi-part series featuring Wake County, North Carolina. The previous parts of this series recapped the visit Mike and Jeff, NC Tyrant Hunter, made to Raleigh, North Carolina back in September of 2020. They were simply trying to find someone willing to step in and hold local level government accountable. Unfortunately, they did not succeed in this endeavor. A few weeks after the trip, Mike heard there was a criminal summons alleging trespass on airport property out of Wake County, but the charging document didn't have an address for this alleged trespass. Mike appeared first via WebEx on December 14, 2020, before Judge Sazzer, who was determined that knowing the location wasn't an essential aspect of being fully informed of a trespass charge. She got angry and revoked the WebEx accommodation as a punishment to Mike for wanting to be fully informed and not waiving any of his rights. Mike was forced to appear in person before Magistrate Harris without most of his assistive devices on May 16, 2021, where he was bullied, talked over, and talked down to. He was, again, not fully informed of the charges and was told he should get a lawyer by the, at that time, unidentified magistrate. She didn't even bother to identify herself, and neither did anyone else in the courtroom. So, since we had no address to go off of, and both the judge and the magistrate were determined that location wasn't relevant to a trespass charge, we used what we had. But remember, at no point when Mike was walking around Raleigh did anyone confront him and tell him to leave any property. No one told him he was trespassing anywhere he walked. No one stopped him to get his identification. Nothing really notable happened in this encounter to help us locate it. This, my friends, is just one of the many reasons why a body camera is such an important assistive device for a blind person, and why you should always record any interaction with government officials and police, even the seemingly pleasant ones. Okay, so I searched the web for a photo of the charging officer, Stephen Moy of the North Carolina Highway Patrol. Once I found a photo, I searched through hours worth of Mike's body cam footage to try to find someone who looked like him and or anything airport or aircraft related, which is how we found the video of the encounter shown in Part 4. After narrowing down the location with Mike's body cam footage, I searched the imaps.gov to find out what that location was listed as. You're not going to believe what I found. Here's a satellite image of the location in question. Alright, now when I click this location to find out what it's listed as, the description reads, North Carolina State Blind School. Unbelievable. So they charge a blind man with trespass for making a wrong turn onto property that is listed as the North Carolina State Blind School, and then wouldn't even tell him the address of the location. Since the case was continued, Mike once again had to plead with the courts that he be allowed to attend the trial intact, and not again be stripped of his assistive devices that would allow him equal access. The court continued his case again from June 23, 2021 to July 23, 2021, and Mike made the journey back to North Carolina, over 10 months out from the initial encounter. This time, the court did agree to give Mike an audio of the proceedings since he was not permitted to take his own notes during. But this, again, is not equal access. The prosecutor can, of course, jot down notes all through the proceedings, which he then uses during said proceedings. Mike's ability to do so was stripped from him. The prosecutor could look around the room and read the faces and body language of the judge and any witnesses that he would call. He could see where the bailiffs were, how many were there, and who all was in the room. He could glance down and read a document or look at any photos that were entered into evidence. Mike would not have access to any of that information and much more, as the court again failed to provide a visual interpreter. Mike was permitted to bring his phone so that he could access the notes he prepared prior to court, but he was forced to accept the lack of accommodation offered by the court or be arrested. The following audio is from the July 23, 2021 Wake County Court trial, presided over by Judge Jacqueline Brewer, prosecuted by Daniel Perry.
Trespassing on airport property, which is a class 2 misdemeanor. You have the right to have a lawyer if you want one. You also have the right to represent yourself. If you want a lawyer, you can either hire a lawyer of your choice, or you can apply for the public defender. Do you know what you want to do about a lawyer?
Mr. Blair Williams from the clerk's office said that we'd be able to record my hearing so I can have notes of this. Mr.
Right,
Hicks?
I'm recording this is being recorded now.
Okay,
this part.
thank you. Can I know who I'm speaking to, please?
I'm Judge Brewer.
Brewer?
Brewer, yes. Sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have a motion to dismiss before the court. I think it's filed at the clerk's office.
Okay.
I have a copy of that too if you need it.
I looked at it. The first thing I need to know about is the lawyer situation. Do you want to represent yourself, hire the lawyer of your choice, or do you want to see if you qualify for a public defender?
Well, I think we can dispose of the charges in the case right now if we handle the matter.
You can, but I want to deal with the lawyer situation first. Are you can represent yourself, you can hire a lawyer, or you can see if you qualify for the public defender. Do you know which one of those three things you want to do?
What's the charge again that I'm facing?
I'm sorry?
Can you inform me of the nature and cause of the charge again, please?
You're charged with trespassing at the airport.
Okay, is there like a statute that goes with that? Like, I just want to be fully informed before I make a decision on.
Sure. The statute is 63-26.1.
Oh, what is that? What is that?
That's the statute number. You asked me what the statute.
Oh, yeah. I just want to know like what it says, like what exactly I'm being charged with.
Okay. You're charged with committing the offense of trespassing upon airport property without authorization that is enclosed and posted as to demonstrate clearly an intent to keep out intruders. That's what you're charged with.
Okay. And does the charging document have an address for this alleged airport property?
The charging instrument has that it's the airport just that it is the airport property.
Okay. So I just have a question. Like I don't know how the court or the DA is assuming jurisdiction if there's no location assigned to the charging document. How do we know that it's in the county or that it's in the right?
Well, I'm not addressing that right now. The first thing I have to address is the lawyer situation, and then I'll go address other things after that. Do you want to represent yourself, hire a lawyer, or do you want the public defender?
I just want to be fully informed before I make that decision.
Well, I'm telling you everything I know right now. I'm informing you the way I'm required to by law. Is telling you what you're charged with, so that you know what the statute number is, and that's what I'm required to do at this point in time.
Yeah, I'm just a little confused about it. It seems that that we don't really charge people with murder if there's not a body, and if there's not an address, I don't know how we charge people with trespass.
Well, that's an issue to be dealt with after we cross the situation, after we cross the issue of your lawyer.
With my motion to dismiss, does it have something on it about like me coming pro se? I think that's part of that.
See what it is.
I've got copies here if the DA needs it.
I think there's something in here, just a moment. It does say Michael Nelson, pro se defendant, so you are going to be representing yourself, is that correct, sir?
Yeah, I believe that's what the motion says, ma'am.
So that's your decision? To represent yourself?
Yes, if we can go forward with the...
Okay, then I'll make a note that you're representing yourself. Hold on. And sir, if you will move to your right just a little bit over here where the table is.
Okay.
And up a little bit closer.
Where is it?
Now, okay, you're right. Hold on a minute. You'll see there are a couple of chairs there. You're free to have a seat there and use that table if you'd like.
Okay.
Is that microphone on?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Yours on?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Yes, sir. Now, with regards to the charges of, would you like to arraign the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
When you guys see
Mr. Nelson, are you prepared for a trial today?
What's that?
Are you prepared for a trial today? Do you want to go ahead and handle this? Or?
Yes, I'm here. Let's do it. It takes me 30 hours round trip to get here, like $300. So.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
State calls Michael Nelson, matter 20 CR 214489. Mr. Nelson, in that matter, you're charged with trespass on airport property. How do you plead?
What was the last part?
How do you plead?
Not guilty.
Thank you.
Now, we need you to file that.
Yes, sir.
I think before we proceed actually to trial, who has filed a motion, you can copy the motion?
I believe I have it.
Okay.
Do you need a copy?
And I believe we need to deal with that. Yes, sir, Mr. Nelson, what do you want to tell me about your motion?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
You filed this motion
Yes.
to quash the warrant, and what do you want to tell me about? Is there anything else you want to say about your motion? What's written in it? Or?
I think maybe there's something left off. Hold on, let me find it. It covers the meat and potatoes, basically, that the charging document doesn't have an address associated with the alleged trespass. And like I mentioned, we don't have ambush by trial in this country. We don't charge people with murder unless there's a body. So charging somebody with trespass with no actual address given is highly out of the ordinary, and I don't even know how to prepare an adequate defense of that. But I believe this is, if I can hand this up to you, and I got one to the DA as well, Your Honor.
If you give it to the deputy will hand it up to me.
Okay. Where?
Hold on, he's right there. Mr. Deputy, would you hand me the documents that he's got there, please? He's coming right there too.
Okay.
Thank you.
This part I did not think.
Just one second, let me look at what you give.
Okay.
Okay, now, there's two copies of this.
Yeah, one was for you, one was for the DA, in case you wanted one, ma'am.
I'll give this to the DA. Now, Mr. Nelson, this document you've given me that is a statute refers to social security numbers and other personal identifying information. Why are you presenting me with that?
Yes, ma'am. That's not included in my motion to dismiss. It's just extra information for your consideration. The charging instrument, I believe, is the only charging instrument is this summons that I have.
Okay.
As far as I know, it hasn't been updated, and it includes my entire social security number. And according to that state statute, state law, it's to be treated as void. The summoning or charging instrument, since it includes my entire social security number. In case the motion to dismiss isn't enough, the DA is proceeding with the void charging instrument at this time.
Here,
Do you wish to address this in any way, Mr. Diaz?
No, Your Honor.
Let me see a copy of the charging instrument. I'll get it from the Diaz.
And Your Honor, there was a voided.
Okay, you can hold that, I'll change to the one that you're That motion's denied. Yes, sir, what you would be heard on your motion to quash?
I'm sorry, ma'am?
I said that motion's denied, you won't be heard on your motion to quash?
That's the one that I filed?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can go ahead and tell me what you want to tell me about it. I mean, you won't tell me anything else about it that's in addition to what's in writing.
Yeah, I think you read the statute. It's pretty clear that the DA either has to be prepared to prove that I bypass some kind of enclosure. What's different between the trespass on airport property and a regular trespass statute, in my understanding, is that the airport property has this extra language of it's an enclosed space. So to be found guilty of trespass, you have to breach that enclosure. Or it has to have adequate signage to inform somebody from the public that you can't go in this restricted area. Clearly, the signage doesn't do me any good, as I can't see it, and it's not a proper notification that there's this restricted area. So the DA has to be prepared to move forward and prove that I somehow climbed a fence or dug under a wall or something of the effect. And this matter is really simple. I was trying to find a state agency to file a complaint on discrimination due to disability and walked down one driveway too soon. A gentleman popped out of a car and said, "Hey, what are you trying to find?" I told him the agency. He said, "Yeah, go back out to the road, turn left." And that was it. He didn't identify himself as law enforcement. He didn't ask for my identification. The words restricted area or trespass never came out of his mouth. It was simply a blind person trying to find the right state agency. And if the court wants to proceed and find a blind person guilty of turning down the wrong driveway, then I don't know where we're at, man.
Did anybody not jump in?
Calvin Passmore.
Does the state wish to be heard
As far as,
his motion? Have you read his motion to quash?
yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state would just say that we would be, this matter were to move to trial, would be offering evidence that he would have had knowledge.
Everybody, at this time, if you have an attorney and you are waiting on them, you have not had contact, you're free to step out.
Well, at this point, I'm going to deny your motion. The evidence may show, I mean, I don't know what the evidence is going to show as to whether or not you were given any knowledge of that, but it may very well show you weren't. So I think I'm going to kind of reserve this ruling until I hear some evidence otherwise.
Okay. Before you rule that, ma'am, I also have something else you might be interested in.
Okay.
Because when I'm out in the public, especially if I'm by myself trying to find places, I keep a body cam on. So I do have audio video evidence of the encounter, and there's no prior warning. I'm prepared to bring that when we have trial.
Right, you can at the time of trial, you can try this today.
Yes, ma'am.
I think that might, I can more adequately address that issue within the course of the trial.
Well, for your consideration, ma'am, like I did ask my partner to look up the location when I had the encounter with the gentleman in the car, and she found the official, if you would like to review this, the official Raleigh.gov map of the intersection and that property, and it's currently listed, and it has been listed as the North Carolina School for the Blind. So,
I'm sorry, what now?
the property where they're alleging that I trespassed, ma'am, is currently listed as the North Carolina School for the Blind. The driveway that I walked down that I just told you about.
But I mean, this is alleged at the airport.
Yes, ma'am. But I'm telling you that the documentation on the official government website that says what's what on the map has it listed as the School for the Blind. So I was trying to find a state agency, as I told you,
Right.
and I stumbled into the School for the Blind, and that's what I'm being trespassed for. If it's been changed from the School for the Blind to an airport, the website has not been updated, and this is current information on the website.
Now you're charged with trespassing an airport property.
Right.
If the evidence shows that it was not airport property, then you would be found not guilty.
It's currently listed on the official website as the School for the Blind. So if I'm trying to find the School for the Blind or another agency and I walk down assuming I'm going to the right place, this is the foreknowledge or Like I don't know what he's trying to prove, ma'am, but he doesn't have any evidence. I have evidence showing that this
I don't know
is.
if he has evidence or not.
Yeah.
The best way for me to resolve that is to hear the evidence, hear his evidence, and then hear your evidence. And if you weren't trespassing, if you were not, if he doesn't meet the requirements of what the state has to prove, then you're found not guilty. Okay?
He wasn't prepared for court today, ma'am, for this trial?
We're going to trial one way or the other.
I'm ready for trial, Your Honor.
If he's not prepared, then the case is going to be dismissed, but we're going to trial or dismiss.
Can I at least get the address they're alleging that trespass? Does he have that?
Your Honor, that would be through the trial.
Okay, well, let's get going. Sir, if you'll have a seat right there,
Okay.
right, please, see that you can have either chair you want.
All right.
Make yourself comfortable, and you can do this after I finish. That's fine, thank you. That's fine. Okay. I'm gonna need it a little quiet in here while we hear this case, please.
And Your Honor, I believe it's already been arraigned.
He has been.
So the state would call Trooper Moy.
If you would shake, be sure not your mic. Place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, sir.
Have a seat, please.
Morning, Trooper Moy.
Good morning.
Please state your name for the
Excuse me,
court.
now, could y'all take this conversation out in the hallway or somewhere, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
So we can hear.
Yes.
Stephen Moy,
By whom are you employed?
North Carolina State Highway Patrol.
How long have you been employed by the agency?
Mr. Perry, is your microphone on?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Is the green light on?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Somewhere around 6.5 years.
And were you so employed and duly sworn on September 15th of 2020?
I'm sorry, where was I?
Were you duly sworn and on duty on September 15th of 2020?
Yes, sir.
And on that date, did you come into contact with the defendant?
I did.
That person is seated in the courtroom. Can you point to them and identify them by a piece of clothing that they're wearing?
Yes, sir. It's the gentleman seated at the defense table, the hat and sunglasses.
And where did you come into contact with the defendant?
I came in contact with him at Garner Road Heliport.
Out there?
Garner Road Heliport. It's airport identifier 3NC2. A street address 3320A, Garner Road.
And is that in Wake County?
It is.
And that's within your territorial jurisdiction?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Trooper, on that day when you came in contact, can you just describe what happened?
Yes, sir. We were getting ready for a flight, and I had to return back to the office to get a piece of equipment that we needed. When I pulled in to the Garner Road helipad, I observed the defendant walking around in our landing area on the helipad next to our fuel farm.
Excuse me, y'all are just gonna have to be a little quieter. If you could take it out in the hallway somewhere, it would really help the conversation. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I observed him walking around on our helipad next to our fuel farm. If memory serves correct, he was wearing like a red shirt, hat, sunglasses, the same backpack and scarf that he has on now, and covered in electrical equipment like filming. There's a camera strapped to his chest, and the cell phone was in his hand.
And that property that's used for, you said it was a helipad?
Yes, sir.
That's used for?
It's a registered airport or helipad with the FAA.
Okay.
And that's our primary helipad where we land to and we do store helicopters there and refuel all our refuel.
Let me ask you a question. Is this a helicopter pad? Is this just for helicopters?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it used strictly by the North Carolina Highway Patrol?
No, it's used by multiple state agencies and occasionally Duke Power Company.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And so would that be considered a public or a private aircraft landing facility?
It's a public helipad.
Okay. And so you said that the defendant was walking?
Yes, sir. Walking out on the helipad where we do land. So there's a concrete pad. He was on that tarmac or that concrete pad walking around.
Is that area enclosed?
It is.
And are there posted signs or anything like that to keep everybody out?
Yes, sir. There's approximately through that avenue of access that he used to get onto the airfield. There's 7 no trespassing signs and stating the airfield statute for no trespassing.
Okay. And the purpose of those obviously is to keep out intruders.
Yes, sir.
Can you describe like how difficult it is to get into that area?
If the gate's open, you can walk out on there. All the signs are still visible. If the gate's closed, you're gonna have to scale the fence.
Okay. And so what else is around there? Are there is it a busy area? Are there a lot of people around there?
In the immediate vicinity?
Like it's a general public just walking around there?
No, sir. There is a city bus stop approximately 300 to 500 yards to the, let me get my bearings right, to the east. That's right next to Garner Road.
Okay.
But you do have to cross Garner Road in order to get to that bus stop.
And you might have already done this, but I'd like to do it again if you haven't already. Can you just describe your interaction you had with the defendant?
Yes, sir. I observed the defendant walking on the airfield. I approached him and asked if he needed help or what he was doing. He said he was looking for the SBI. I told him, I said, "Hey man, you're in the wrong spot." I said, you're on a helicopter pad. We're getting ready to land a helicopter here." I told him where the SBI was. I said, "You need to go out the gate, make a left, go down, make your next left, and that's the headquarters for Highway Patrol and SBI, State Bureau of Investigation."
Okay. And after that, what happened?
After I advised him, we had to go back and forth a little bit about the directions, but after I confirmed he had the directions and everything, he did exit the airfield.
And was anybody else around when he exited?
Yes. There's another gentleman wearing all black and filming this whole interaction. He was outside the gate, but he was filming both of us talking, camera equipment, cameras on poles, and it appeared that they were working in conjunction with each other.
And what brought you to that conclusion?
That they're
Objection? Speculation?
Oh, and I think, what was the question?
I was just asking what brought him to that conclusion that they were working together.
Overruled right now.
based on the fact that they're both recording me, the cameras were all pointed in my direction or our direction. And then upon further review, after investigation, there's multiple YouTube videos where they're interacting together.
Okay. Sorry, Your Honor, we just had an extra one.
Anyone here from Becker Rouse? Progress freight line? Nobody's checking. Surgery, arrested.
Your Honor, I'd like permission to approach the witness. I understand that he wouldn't be able to see these pictures, so I would like to describe them to him.
That's, okay, you can approach him. Sir, he's gonna show you something.
Can't see it, Your Honor.
I'm going to
I know,
describe
but
it to you.
he's,
Okay.
he's gonna find the scribe for you. so
All right.
you know.
Mr. Nelson, this is a picture of you walking out of the area. This is a
What
pic-
area?
Of the helipad right at the driveway.
Okay. It shows,
It's just the back picture of your back as you're
I'm exiting,
Yes.
so it's the driveway, the road, does it show a sidewalk?
Mhm.
Is there a gate?
Yeah, there's a gate.
Is it open?
It is open, yes.
Can you see where the gate meets the edge of the driveway?
Yes, you can see the whole exit.
Okay, cool.
And then the next one's a gate
Mhm.
with no trespassing signs and stuff.
Mhm.
And then just to zoom in at those. Okay,
Okay, cool.
those signs. And Your Honor, may I approach you with?
Yes.
Basically, 1, 2, 3.
I do.
Same as the pictures.
Without saying what's in the picture.
About same as the pictures right now.
It's they're all pictures I took. Mhm.
It's very accurate representation of the scene of the day.
I can't hear, I'm sorry.
I know, speak up a little bit. It's a lot, there's background.
Are they a fair and accurate representation of the scene on that day?
They are.
Your Honor, this time we'll move to a bid, spaces 1, 2, and 3 into evidence.
So, Al, may I see them?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. This is the defendant inside the airfield property. I took a picture as he was walking away. Yes, sir. This is a picture of 4 of the signs saying don't enter the property, don't trespass. You'll be charged with airfield trespassing. This is just a closer closer up with some of the same signage.
You just keep mine. I've already taken.
We got one more moment here.
Sure.
Trooper Moore, I'm just one more question. I'm not sure I asked it earlier. Are you aware that whether the defendant had authorization to be in the airport that day?
No, I am. There was no authorization.
Nothing further from the state.
Now, Mr. Nelson, if you would like to ask the officer questions, you are welcome to. It needs to be in the form of question, okay?
Thank you. Mr. Moy, what time of day did you first become aware that I was on the property?
It was around 10 o'clock.
Okay, and how did you become aware?
I saw you walking out on the airfield property.
Okay, and where were you when you saw me?
I was next to our fuel farm, which is the northeastern corner of the helipad.
So you were in the property or on the property yourself?
Yes, I saw you as I was driving in the gate, and I initiated the encounter, our conversation.
Okay, so you didn't see me from the fuel property first. First, you saw me when you were driving on the property down the driveway. Is that right?
Yes, I saw the other gentleman standing outside the gate when I was driving on Tryon Road. I made a left turn onto Garner Road and saw you walking out on the helipad.
Okay, so you first saw me from the road when you were turning in onto the property down the driveway.
Yes.
And when you turned onto the property, was the gate closed or open?
Open.
It was open. So you didn't have to put in a code to open the gate or anything like that. It was wide open.
It was open.
Okay. And I think the prosecutor offered a picture of the gate you said you took of me leaving. Was it open still?
Yes.
Okay. So was there any auditory cue, any kind of cue to somebody who can't see a no trespassing sign that this property is enclosed, or was it just an open driveway?
There's no speakers or anything.
Right. So there's, yeah, are you aware that some places have little motion sensors? It's kind of like a hunting camera. It turns on whenever somebody gets close, and it'll say, hey, no trespassing. That technology exists?
I'm not aware. I believe it.
Have you heard of like crossing signs like in the intersections that beep and let people that can't see, hey, here's the sign? It even announces intersections and the such?
Yes.
Okay. All right. At that day, was there any helicopters on the pad? Was there any noise of aircraft on the airport property?
That day, yes.
At that time?
Of the encounter, no.
At the time, yeah. No? Okay. So there was no auditory cue that was an airport or that was restricted property. Is that correct?
There's no speaker saying that it's airport property or don't trespass.
Right. So there's no indication to somebody who can't see the sign that this was an enclosed airport property because as you just confessed, it was open. Is that right?
Yes, the gate's open.
Okay.
There's signage.
Great.
There's no audio cues.
And when you approached me, did you identify yourself as a law enforcement officer or give your name or of any kind?
I don't recall.
Okay.
From what I recall, I said, hey, what are you doing here? Can I help you?
Pretty close, yeah. You treated me like a human being. I really appreciate it. You gave me directions, and I thought that was it, right? So, at any point, did you ask for my identification?
I did not.
Right. Did you accuse me of trespassing or say, hey, this is a restricted area, you need to get off now, or we'll trespass you? Anything of that line? Were you thinking at the time? I'll let you answer one question at a time. I'm sorry.
Try to break it down.
My apologies. I'm kind of excited. Yeah.
I did, and I have noted in my statement or whatever, I told you that this is a helipad and that people aren't allowed here and that you need to leave. And at that point is when I gave you the instructions
Okay.
for SBI.
Okay. Right. I was trying to find a state agency. Where is the State Bureau of Investigation in relation to that property, the airport property?
They're approximately, I mean, just mental guess here, probably between 2 and 4/10 of a mile further north.
Is it on the same block, same side of the road?
Same side of the road.
So it's just divided by like a fence or a partition or something, is that right?
Yes, there's a fence.
Okay, so you're aware that it's all that, basically, all that side of the road for the whole block is state property. It's just subdivided into different apartments. Is that correct?
Not the whole block, but the area we're talking about, yes,
Yeah.
it's all state property.
Okay. And the SBI office, like you gave me instructions that day, was reverse my course, go out, follow the sidewalk to the left, and it's the next driveway. So it was literally one driveway over.
Correct.
Okay. Are you familiar with any kind of assistive technology created for the blind to help navigate on foot?
Not intimately. Offhand, I know Google Maps will give you audio cues if you set it up that way.
Right. So was I wearing something similar like this, or the exact same thing, the headset that gives me auditory cues, and had my phone going, as far as you can tell?
I do recall a headset.
Yeah. Okay. But you don't know how those apps work or how accurate they are, or if they tell you there's a gate or not, or anything like that?
No, I haven't used them.
Okay. Did you have any prior knowledge to me prior to this encounter?
No, sir.
Okay. Did you have any indication that I knew this was an airport prior to you saying something about a helipad?
No, sir.
Okay. You said it's registered, the property's registered with the FAA as a airport, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what it's currently listed on the official imap, the Raleigh.gov website?
I'm sorry, imap?
Yes, sir. If somebody wants to navigate and figure out where they want to go, you can look at Google, right? Google's a third party. You can look at the property lines, the GIS survey, an IMAP survey, something from the county or the state, and it will give you what the county has it registered. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
Okay, so I try to be very careful where I go, and I use third-party things to navigate, but I also try to do my research and figure out who owns what property. So it is state property, like you admitted, but if you want, I can
Well, just
pass this up.
now. Don't make any statements. You just need to ask me questions, okay?
Right.
That's where we are. This juncture.
Well, I would just like him to look at this. Like, if we can pass these up.
You can show him that if he recognizes it. He might not, but
Sure.
Mr. Jacqueline, would you?
I've got 3 copies, so
He's gonna-
one for the
he's
judge,
gonna
one for the
sit
TA,
you
one for the witness.
and get them out there too.
Yeah, so just pass them out whoever needs them.
Your Honor, I am going to object to the
Have you
foundation
seen
to
them?
this. I haven't seen it.
Well, show it to the DA first.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to the foundation.
The foundation is
Well, just a minute.
Okay.
First of all, I'm gonna let him show it to the officer.
Okay.
See if he recognizes it. I think that's the only way he can. It might take care of itself, I don't know.
sure. Thank you.
In other words, do you recognize what you're looking at?
Yes, ma'am. It's a map of the general area
Of what general area?
of our heliport and
Okay,
the Highway Patrol headquarters and SBI
okay.
headquarters.
And so you recognize that as the area? You
Yes.
ask any other questions of it, about it?
Yes. So
He's not offering any evidence at this time, because he can't offer evidence at this time. Because the state's presenting evidence, but he can show him a document. He says he's recognized it, and let him ask him some questions about it.
All right, this is just going back to the foundation, Your Honor, of the prosecution said he's ready to present evidence that that I had foreknowledge that this was an airport property, and I'm all right. So the question is, can you see what the website is on that document?
The website at the top,
Yes, sir.
maps.raleighnc.gov.
Okay, so the .gov, is that you recognize that as a state or a government website?
Yeah.
Generally accepted. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And do you see that there's a blow up or a drop down? It's listing the North Carolina School for the Blind at that location.
Yes. The property, that whole property as a whole, was the Moorhead School for the Blind, I believe up until either the 50s or the 60s.
Right. Okay.
And then at that point it was handed over.
Is as far as you know, is there any monuments or any kind of plaques or anything still standing from the old School for the Blind on the property?
I don't know about on the property, but on the side of Garner Road,
Okay.
further north, there is a one of the silver and black historical signs.
Okay. And again, we didn't have much of a conversation that day, but prior to that, you didn't know that what I was there for. You didn't know if I was there to maybe find this site and document it. And is that correct?
No, the only thing I recall is you had said you were wanting to go to the SBI because you had to settle a matter.
Okay. All right. And I think that's it for that document. Thank you.
Any other questions you want to ask?
Just a couple more, yes, ma'am. The summons that you wrote. Do you recall the date that you wrote the summons for the trespass on airport property? Thank you.
I don't recall from memory, but on the bottom of the page it says September 21st.
September 21st. Is that on? What are you reading off of?
The criminal summons.
Okay. What was the alleged date? Could somebody refresh my memory, please? The alleged
September
date?
15th.
September 15th. Okay. I believe the charging instrument that I have, and I've been told is the only charging instrument in this case, is dated 2 weeks after the alleged date. Can you explain why you wrote up a summons 2 weeks after the encounter?
I don't recall anything 2 weeks. The date issued is September 21st. I don't know if there's some confusion with at what point you were served with that summons. I can't speak to that.
I mean, I can't actually see this. So if somebody wants to confirm maybe the charging instrument that we have currently to hear this case, what the date is on it, Your Honor, or Mr. DA.
You can ask him questions right now. If you can answer them, that's fine. If you can't, that's the way it is too.
Well, yeah, I could have made an error, and I want to see if somebody can look.
Ask him what his charging, you can ask him what his charging instrument has on it.
Okay. Have you seen this charging instrument, the one that we're using for this case? And if not, you can use my copy.
I have a copy of the criminal summons applicable to this case.
Okay.
So what's the question?
I'm just curious why it's dated 2 weeks after the alleged encounter. Why it took 2 weeks for you to write the summons.
It did not take 2 weeks to write the summons. There's multiple dates on the front of here to include like your birthday, date of offense, like beginning through end, date of issue, and there's a court date. And I'm sure on your copy probably is like dates served. And
why didn't you write the summons at the encounter?
I did write the summons of the encounter.
No, at the time of the encounter. Why didn't you write the ticket or write a summons at the time of the encounter?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Well, overruled. I mean,
Yeah.
Did you write one that day?
No, ma'am. I did not write one that day. I didn't write one that day, I was immediately getting ready to go on a mission request for a flight. That's why I was I came over there to get a piece of an iPad mount of all things.
Okay. Are you familiar with the state statute that says putting somebody's full social security number on an official document that'll be used in court is to be treated void? I didn't hear that. There's a lot of noise right here.
I think it's staying.
Okay. Is there any way we can not have this right here? It's really distracting.
If you could just back away, please, this way. I agree, there's a lot of.
Yeah. Thank you.
shuffling around.
Thank you. You sustain that objection?
I sustain.
Okay, thank you. Did somebody from the SBI office ask you or encourage you to write this summons for trespass?
Objection.
Sustain.
Okay. I think the DA asked you a question about authorization. If I had authorization to access the property, and you said that I did not. Prior to the encounter with me, did you know that I did or did not have authorization to access the property?
There was no authorization for anybody to be on that property, to my knowledge, outside people who work there.
Who gives authorization for access to the property?
Objection.
I would go to our chief pilot or my supervisor to initiate that process.
And are you briefed daily, like whenever you're working out there, who all's requested access and who was granted access for the day?
There is. If we have other flights coming in or other people that are working in that area, to include just the fuel inspections that occur from other state personnel that have to get out there.
Okay.
And we escort them. So we have to meet them at the gate and escort them to wherever they're going to accomplish out there on the property.
Okay. The picture that the DA offered, is that entered as evidence or is that just a reference for questions? Your Honor. The pictures that the DA had Trooper Moy look at, was that entered in evidence or is it simply for questioning? Okay. Can I get the trooper to look at the picture of me leaving?
Do you have the pictures there? If you would, Mr. DA, hand it to him.
All right, I'm looking.
You got it? Okay. If you could look, I asked the DA, he said that you can see the whole gate, like the left and the right side. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Does the gate on the, as I'm exiting on the right side, is the gate hang over the cement at all? Or is it off the cement, like hanging over the grass?
The gate on the southern side or the right side of the picture, as you're referencing, is that the post is in the grass that the gate pivots on.
Okay. And when you encountered me, you said I think when you were answering questions for the DA, you said I was at some pad or near some fuel site. From that gate to where we encounter each other, what's the distance, approximately?
Straight line, probably somewhere around 200 yards if you're cutting across the grass.
From the gate to where you found me, like almost a football field's length?
Yes.
Really? Okay. Did you see me walking with my white cane that day? Whoop.
Yes, you had a cane.
Okay. And are you familiar with how people with visual impairments or blind people use white canes to navigate?
I would imagine the process is you're feeling for boundaries or edges of pavement.
Yeah, exactly. So as a trooper, you haven't had any training, I assume, on like how that process actually works, or the mobility training that a visually impaired person goes through to use a cane.
I'm not aware of any training for how to use the cane.
Okay. Did you see me using the cane to follow the edge of the driveway, which then turned left, going around the parking lot?
I saw you using the cane.
In that manner?
Yes.
Okay, so following the edge, and that's what you observed, and then you came up and we made contact, yes?
Where you were when we made contact was all concrete.
Right.
So yes, I saw you using the cane.
Okay.
That's a question.
I think that's it. I think we covered all the bases there. Thank you.
Can you redirect from the DA?
Brian Kieran. Jimmy Scott.
Trooper, you had mentioned a YouTube channel.
I can't hear you. Look.
The trooper had mentioned a YouTube channel. I just wanted him to describe that.
Objection relevant.
I'm sorry, I can't hear what you said.
Earlier, he testified to a defendant having a YouTube channel. I was going to ask him to describe that. I believe he briefly did earlier.
I object relevance.
During his direct examination, that didn't come up in cross-examination.
All right, nothing further, Your Honor.
You can step down. Any other evidence for the state?
For the state, Your Honor.
You may step down. Now, Mr. Nelson, you have the right to present evidence if you want to, but you don't have to.
Okay.
If you don't want to, you can rely on the strength or the weakness of the state's case if you choose to. What is your choice?
I do have audio video. Like I said, I have body cam that I wear whenever I'm allowed and not prevented from taking my own notes. So I do have that if it would help you to look at, but
I don't think it will, because I think I've seen the photographs and I've heard all the testimony.
okay.
I think I can make a decision at this point in time, unless you choose to offer yet. That's up to you.
No, I mean, I just, just going to ask again that you consider the motion to dismiss because the prosecution failed to present his case. He didn't meet the minimum standard burden of proof. He didn't show a pre-knowledge that I knew there was an airport. There was no physical indication that it was enclosed. There was no auditory indication that it was enclosed. Or that it was an airport at all.
And does the state wish to be heard any further on anything?
At this point, Your Honor, is this after state's evidence, or is this closed?
This is it. He's not offering any more evidence.
Okay, yes, Your Honor. I would.
Unless, can this be the map be introduced as evidence, Your Honor?
Well, yes, it can be now.
Okay.
Because you've had your evidence, and I'll be glad to look at it.
Yeah, if we can enter that in evidence, it'd be great. You just need one, or how many copies do you need?
Just give it to the deputy.
Okay. All right.
And arguments from this, let's see, well, he offers evidence, so the state gets to go last. Do you wish to tell me anything else, sir, in summary? Regarding what's been presented in evidence.
Yep, so Your Honor, you can see that as far as the public is aware, that property still is listed under the government website mapping system as the School for the Blind. I was there as the officer testified to discuss matters with the State Bureau of Investigation, but also to locate the School for the Blind and see if there's any, I knew it was closed, to see if there's any kind of monument or plaque or anything to all the service they did to the blind people in the state. And yeah, that's basically it. There's more that probably needs to be handled in federal court as far as why these charges are even here. But I think it's very clear from the testimony, from the picture, that the property wasn't enclosed, and there's no auditory indication, there's no physical indication to a visually impaired person, such as myself, that this was an airport property, or that it was restricted, or that it was no trespassing. The officer never said no trespassing. He never actually told me to leave. He gave me directions. He was very courteous and kind. So that's where I'm at, Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor. I would be asking you to find him guilty of this charge. You heard testimony that this was a airport. He was not authorized to be there. It was so enclosed, and there were posted, you saw picture evidence of the posted sign that clearly showed intent to keep out intruders. And Your Honor, you heard testimony that there was another person there also recording that was believed to be in conjunction with the defendant in this case. Also, you heard that 2 different reasons he was there. You heard something about the SBI, and you heard that it was a blind center, so I'm not sure if the stories exactly line up for why he was there in the first place, other than you also heard about the YouTube channel to create a situation that would involve an interaction with a government official, and therefore I believe that is why he was there, and actually find him guilty.
Based on the evidence presented, your verdict not guilty. You're free to go, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I'm going to put your map in the file, your evidence. Does the state want to put your map there in the file as well, or not?
It's not necessary, Your Honor.
I mean, is it in the evidence?
Yeah.
While I am very happy that Mike was finally assigned a judge with some sense, Jacqueline Brewer, and that she saw that he was not guilty of any crime, but this was not justice. On the whim of some government officer, charging officer Stephen Moy, prosecutor Daniel Perry, Chief District Court Judge Deborah Sasser, and Magistrate Mia Harris, and anyone else involved in this conspiracy, essentially sentenced Mike, an innocent man, to 10 months of fighting with the criminal justice system, hours of research and court prep, 2 trips to North Carolina, and thousands of dollars in travel costs. And that's not measuring the strain on Mike and the family. This system is life-crushing. This is not a justice system. This is a criminal justice system, because what it does and how it chews people up and spits them out is criminal. Bonus info. In trying to find a photo of the judge Jacqueline Brewer, I came across this interesting little nugget. This is definitely a positive thing. This is a news article dated March 31st, 2016. 104 DWI cases tossed after North Carolina deputy found to have lied. It reads, the Wake County District Attorney has dismissed 104 DWI cases and another 71 traffic-related offenses after a sheriff's deputy was found to have lied on the stand. Local media outlets said District Attorney Lauren Freeman took the action after District Court Judge Jacqueline Brewer disqualified Deputy Robert Davis, a member of the sheriff's DWI task force, as a witness. Brewer found that Davis had lied in at least 3 cases. In one instance, a woman whom Davis arrested in August 2014 made the case that the deputy had not allowed her to make her phone call or take a breathalyzer test. At a hearing on that case, Davis denied her claims. Sheriff Donnie Harrison said Davis, who was an 18-year veteran of the sheriff's office, was fired. See? Positive.